better.
There's more to say.
Yeah, it's a lot better. It's not as jerky. Did a hard reboot.
These stop right outside the park, so still have to go through all that.
Yeah.
Not security.
Yeah. Yes, welcome to the TTC. I only had a couple. It's only 10 to 12 anyway. Dinner's at 6:30. So we can, that's why Columbia Harbor House is going to be kind of light. I did a hard reboot of the phone, and I actually it's working a little bit better now. Is that the Liberty Tree Tavern? Yeah, we got the green train. Yeah, it's really good food. My wife and I ate there in February last year.
Is it usually busy?
What?
Columbia Harbor House? Is it busy?
I don't know.
It's a large
Disney's contemporary Halloween Village or Grand Floridian Resorts. Please exit separate monorails from the station service both locations. For assistance, please ask the monorail host or hostess. As you board, please continue moving across your car. For everyone, please offer available seating to those needing special assistance. Please hold on to the handrail and stay clear of the doors. The monorail will depart momentarily for the Magic. Thank you.
Hi, Eileen. We're not even in Epcot anymore.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Good morning, everyone.
I could tell.
Monorail Great. Next up is Magic Kingdom Monorail Station. During your turn, please, as you're standing, hold on to the silver handrails. Please stand clear of the door. Thank you.
Hold on.
How was my bedroom?
Welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Express Monorail, your highway in the sky to the Magic Kingdom. For those of you standing, please hold on to the handrails throughout our journey and stay clear of the doors. For the comfort of others, no smoking, please. Thank you. We are now circling the Disney-created Seven Seas Lagoon.
You'll see the Disney Castle here. Lovely, isn't it? Now you'll see the hotel.
We are now entering Disney's Contemporary Resort.
I love that on Batman Island there's a big monorail coming through and you just go chopping.
People do stop as well. Do they
We are now
stop?
passing Bay Lake Tower at Disney's Contemporary Resort, a Disney Vacation Club resort.
You have to shoot it.
That's Space Mountain. It's good. Oh, Space Mountain. Space Mountain.
Sad. You didn't go on it last time.
I want to go.
Well, how did you know?
Because I saw the video.
Are you scared of the dark?
Shut it.
You gotta get over that.
No. I'm not scared of the
Can we go on the live floor again? That monster thing.
What's the thing? The love.
So basically, it's basically, I'm just hold on. So basically, they shine like a light. And then
Ladies and gentlemen,
Old train, new
we are
train.
approaching our station at the entrance to Main Street, USA, gateway to the 16 lands of the Magic Kingdom. Smoking is not permitted in the Magic
There's the
Kingdom,
lily bell.
except in designated areas. Please consult your guide map or ask a cast member for locations. If you're standing, please hold on to the handrail.
Hey, we got pumpkins up. Halloween decorations are up. Sweet.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Magic Kingdom Monorail Station.
Yeah, the best way is that.
It's been upgraded. Bone fresh. Best.
Ladies and gentlemen, please collect your belongings, watch your head and step, and take small children. Enjoy your day and at the Magic Kingdom.
I don't like that.
As you board, please move across your car to make room for everyone, and kindly offer available seating to those needing special assistance. If you're standing, please hold on to the
Halloween
handrail
decorations are
and stay clear of the automatic doors. They will be closing in a moment. Thank you. We will be traveling to the Transportation and Ticket Center. If you're traveling to Disney's Contemporary, Polynesian Village, or Grand Floridian resorts, please exit this monorail. The monorail on the opposite
Over there.
side of the horses, please ask for monorail host or hostess.
The Halloween decorations are up. Okay.
We need to get presents.
All the presents it is. Time for my wife to take a nap. Go, go. Yeah.
Look at how it's changed.
Uh-huh.
Then how it
Yep. Here's Sunday, nothing. We're here today, and it's Halloween.
even have
Find the line, Brianna.
changed.
There we go. What? Ha ha ha.
Keep
Top.
having problems now. But it's okay. So after the hot president.
Okay, I'm turning in the Wi-Fi back on. Wi-Fi. My data.
Sunday you could never tell anything, and now
Yeah. Playing or it's all.
even there.
Take a tour down Main Street.
It's amazing of how they do the real. They do all of this at night. And it's less than they have all of this set up in.
Yes, it is. But they have everything in the back. Goes with. That's cool. Baseball.
go?
What? Oh, mine's over there.
We're gonna go to Hall of Presidents so we can cool off.
We're gonna cool you down, and then we're gonna get lunch.
No, we're gonna go let her sleep.
I know it's the middle of August. It's hot, and it feels like Halloween already for some reason. Gee, I wonder why. It does have a completely different feel to it.
I know we're in August. I think we're like September or October. Dance party.
I think the moleskin came off.
Oh.
I got a Band-Aid, I think. I thought I put a Band-Aid in the bag.
You had a box of Band-Aids yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know where they're at.
Us here in the Magic Kingdom. We hope to see you again real soon.
Dang, this is hot.
Yeah. You wanted to go to Hall of Presidents too. We have about 2 hours until our fast pass. We can do the Hall of Presidents and
My daughter took my wife into the France show yesterday, and they both took a nap.
everyone in the whole theater took a nap. The girl who was a cast member, she went on the whole thing and said, "Wake up, everybody."
They had an wooden door over there at the front of the castle.
The whole theater took a nap there.
Yeah.
But it felt good.
That is an eyesore.
What? Yeah, that's because that's used for the stage shows. Keeps people from going on stage. Why does it seem like it's hotter here than at Epcot?
I know. That's a little weird.
It is.
Epcot, I was fine with the heat. It was getting a little warm, but we could cool off easily.
Yeah.
Here it's like.
Okay, come on. But looks like it just emptying that out, so. Five.
What?
12:05.
And it starts at 4:10. Right on time. At what, 12:05?
They all have
Oh, that feels good.
Everyone wants to be here.
Because they're getting out of the heat.
But they have a big enough theater, right?
Yeah. Here, hold that for a minute.
Reagan.
This feels so much better.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, you can sleep here. You can sleep here. It might be like an 18-minute, 20-minute. That's all you need, really.
Yeah. I'm gonna be playing with my foot for a bit, so.
Get my sunglasses. Cool. When people ask where Figment has been, I'll just say he's been in his house. Better?
Sticky, so.
I think the next showing is at like
I got
1.
it, but I barely got it. It's right here. So,
The next showing's right around the corner, I think. Like,
yeah.
like 12:20, 12:30.
It'll be just a few more moments before the curtains open to let you into the theater. On behalf of everyone here at the Hall of Presidents, we are so happy you decided to come visit us today. We hope that you enjoy the show and that you enjoy the rest of your day here tonight. A few reminders, please remember to use both left and right sides to enter the theater. For my guests who are using scooters and wheelchairs, I will be on the far right side to assist you as you enter. Please remember there is plenty of time and plenty of seats. No flash photography or video camera lighting. Please silence all cell phones and other mobile devices. And remain quietly seated for the entire performance. Thank you so much.
I can see it.
Do what?
You have to have no camera lighting on.
There is no camera light.
Phone lighting.
Right there.
That's a little better. They want to watch all presidents movies. I think this is the most we've recorded out of the whole trip we're here.
Oh, we didn't do much yesterday, so.
We didn't.
We'll do this and shut it down for a bit, let the phone cool down, and okay. You're welcome, Eileen.
Let's move to 5 sides.
We are coming up on the last call for this showing of all the residents. If you wish to enter, please do so.
The water noise, you know. That's just
That way others can sit down.
Ladies present a reverent celebration of America's leaders, past and present. Hope you enjoy the Hall of Presidents.
This program is dedicated to the memory of Walt Disney. In 1971, his love for America inspired the creation of the Hall of Presidents, a place to celebrate the optimism and goodwill he saw at the heart of the American story. Walt's vision was to honor the nation by honoring the American presidency.
It is 1783, and the smoke is clearing in the wake of war. Over the course of 8 grinding years, General George Washington has led a force of shopkeepers, farmers, and Native American allies to victory over the greatest military power in the world. A new nation has been born, independent and free. The founders must form a national government. In 1787, through months of passionate debate, they create a written constitution. For the country's highest office, they imagine something new in the history of the world. A leader not born to power like a king or queen. A leader who has not seized power through conquest. A leader not set, but elected by the people. From among the people. We, the people. This is a new idea, an American idea. The idea of a president. The people don't know exactly what a president will be, but there is little doubt who it will be. George Washington's stature and bearing have marked him. His integrity has made him a great one. Washington knows that many generals who have led successful revolutions make themselves dictators or kings. Instead, he steps down from power and retires to his home, Mount Vernon. The world takes note, and George Washington becomes the symbol of American ideals. In the first presidential election, it's Washington by a landslide. The only doubt seems to be his own. He writes, "Integrity and firmness is all. Firmness is exactly what we need. Everything he does as president will set a model for his successors." His final act may be the most important of all. After 2 terms, with no term limit in the Constitution and amid overwhelming support to stay in office, he steps down once again and hands power back to the people. He wants us to speak, to elect a new president. During the Republic, we choose leaders as different as Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and Andrew Jackson. Elections are often bitter. Each president stands at that fiery intersection where personal character meets the challenges of the times. Some call the presidency a glorious burden. Jefferson calls it a splendid misery. We, the people, must choose well. We elect. The course of history brings us to the edge of a crisis like no other. A nation born of freedom still permits slavery. As the country pushes west, will new states be slave or free? The question produces bitter conflict. The issue rocks the election of 1860 and brings Abraham Lincoln onto the national stage. The tall, lanky, some say uncouth candidate from Illinois is a master of words at a time when speeches are printed in full for people. A house divided against itself cannot stand, he said. With Lincoln's election, the House does indeed divide. Civil War. 11 states secede from the Union. The war becomes a defining passage in the American story. The president's own inner strength and depth of character changed history. Lincoln had come up the hard way on the American frontier, desperately poor, with less than a year of formal schooling. His early years were scarred by tragedy, the death of his mother, his sister, his first love. He struggles with depression, but never loses his determination to rise above it. He once said he's driven by a desire to leave the world a little better place for having lived in it. The war rages. Lincoln fights to preserve the Union and end slavery. Neither is a sure thing. Battles of the war. The president dedicates a cemetery to the thousands of soldiers who died there, in words we can never forget.
Fourscore and 7. Our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation, so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives, that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
The blood of over 500,000 Americans is spilled in the Civil War. President Lincoln's enduring hope is to give true meaning to the sacrifices of so many, to lead us to that new birth of freedom. With the end of the war and the end of slavery, a new birth truly begins. As we roll toward the 20th century, settlers roll west on wagon wheels and railroads connect the nation coast to coast. Millions of immigrants pour in from Europe and Asia. Population doubles. Our economy triples. Our standing among nations rises. We need presidents who can lead both at home and abroad. At the same time, a young Theodore Roosevelt is retreating from New York politics and personal tragedy. The death of his wife and his mother on the same day in the same house. In the Badlands of North Dakota, he rethinks his life and the life of his country. He returns stronger in body and spirit. His renewed energy is just what his country needs. American industry is booming, but social tensions are rising. A progressive movement is bubbling up, pushing for change, and change is needed in the working and living conditions in cities. The gap widens between rich and poor. The demand for change grows stronger. Teddy Roosevelt is a knight on a crusade. He speaks with force and vitality in clear terms that make colorful headlines at a time when mass market newspapers have become the new media. To define his foreign policy, he borrows a phrase from an African proverb: speak softly and carry a big stick. But his greatest accomplishments are made at home. He breaks up giant monopolies, protects workers' rights, and calls for a square deal for all Americans, rich and poor, capitalist and wage earner.
And a square deal for every man and every woman in the United States.
He calls on America to be as great as the natural grandeur of its lands. Keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground, he tells us. And we do.
The bottom fell out of the market. 12 million unemployed. The breadlines and the super. The results of the 1932 election now.
When we elect our 32nd president, it is the worst of times. The course of history and the course of one president's life again shape a turning point in our national destiny. Franklin D. Roosevelt, paralyzed by polio, knows how to restore the faith of a people paralyzed by the Great Depression.
I believe in practical explanation and in practical policy.
He has found the inner strength his countrymen now need. He speaks to us like a friend, a neighbor. His optimism is contagious. His voice perfect for the latest breakthrough medium, radio. He calls us to believe we have nothing to fear but fear itself. And we do believe.
Tonight's attacks on England are perhaps the most widespread of the war in the course of the day.
But an even greater challenge dominates his final years in office: the Second World War.
We must be the great arsenal of democracy. This is an emergency as serious as war itself.
We stun the world with our production. When bombs fall on U.S. troops in Pearl Harbor, he calls us to fight on the war front and sacrifice on the home front.
The harder the sacrifice, the more glorious the triumph. So spoke America in the year 1776. So speak Americans today.
The world changes. The country changes. And yet, in one sense, what we need most from our changed. A guiding vision that calls forth the best that America can be.
Will outer space be developed for the benefit of all mankind? Or will it become another focus for the arms race? The choice is urgent, and it is ours to make.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
But really, it's all of us who must overcome the crippling legacy of bigotry and injustice. And we shall.
One of the agreements that President Sadat and Prime Minister Begin are signing tonight is entitled A Framework for Peace in the Middle East.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. You have lost too much, but you have certainly not lost America.
I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you.
Loving this country requires the willingness to die for what is right, to shake up the status quo. That's America.
Our presidency is just an idea. It is an idea with a proud history. Ladies and gentlemen, the presidents of the United States of America. George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, John Quincy Adams, Andrew Jackson, Martin Van Buren, Harrison, John Tyler, James K. Polk, Zachary Taylor, Millard Fillmore, Franklin Pierce, James Buchanan, Abraham Lincoln, Andrew Johnson, Ulysses S. Grant, Rutherford B. Hayes, James A. Garfield, Chester A. Arthur, Grover Benjamin Harrison, William McKinley, Theodore Roosevelt, William Howard Taft, Woodrow Wilson, Warren G. Harding, Calvin Coolidge, Herbert Hoover, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Harry S. Truman, Dwight D. Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, Lyndon B. Johnson, Richard M. Nixon, Gerald R. Ford, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, George Bush, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama. And now we come to the present. Once again, we place our trust of a president, as we have from the beginning.
My fellow citizens, no event could have filled me with greater anxieties than that notification on the 14th day of April, 1789, that you had selected me to lead our nation. But it was with the confidence of my fellow citizens that I took an oath. 35 simple words that have been repeated by every American president throughout history.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, protect and the Constitution of the United States. So help me God. America has been a nation defined by its people. At our founding, it was the American people who rose up to defend our freedoms and win our independence. It is why our founders began our great Constitution with 3 simple words: we the people. Since that moment, each generation of Americans has taken its place in the defense of our freedom, our flag, and our nation under God. These are the achievements of the American spirit, the spirit of a people who fought and died to bring the blessings of liberty to all our people. Above all, to be American is to be an optimist, to believe that we can always do better, and that the best days of our great nation are still ahead of us. President of the United States, to stand here among so many great leaders of our past and to work on behalf of the American people.
The presidency of the United States is a role unique in the world, an office entrusted to each president by us, we the people. Therein lies the genius of that new idea, 200 years old. A new idea our presidents have turned into a great American idea again and again.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our presentation. Please gather your personal belongings.
Okay, gonna shut down for a while. See you, everybody later today.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed the